When you can crawl, you touch the net, you've got your share.
With a coolie and a safe journey home. Thank God for the kilo.
We never sell our fish, we give them right to the public. Makes us feel good. There's a lot of people that need the fish because they get children. They only make so much in a month, and we're very fortunate that we can help them out.
We believe the more you give, the more you shall receive, and that's the way we operate. It's a time kind of to relax and reflect on how that event went. If we only caught half the school, then the guys would say, wow, I don't know what happened. And, like, you cut across too fast. You have the bragging rights. You can tell people how you spotted a fish, how you surrounded. So when we go up there, we just relax. We have a couple beers and break out the ukulele and just relax. Mahalo kua nona mea vai vai. We thank you for all the richness.
The Hana Hui follows a Hawaiian fishing tradition that has been practiced here for more than 1,000 years. Elsewhere in Hana, there are other Hawaiian traditions that go back just as far. There is even one that was created here. Ancient Hawaii, a time when it is said that gods lived among mortals in Hana. The practice of keeping fish captive in enclosed ponds was born here at this spot named Leho'ula. Built by a family of gods who lived here, the pond showed the people how to keep a supply of fresh fish by building stone walls to enclose a shore area and keep the larger fish that came in with the tide captive. Over time, other kinds of oceanfront ponds evolved, as did inland freshwater ponds, where certain kinds of fish could also be kept. Before European contact with Hawaii in 1778, it is estimated that there were more than 2,000 functioning fish ponds throughout all the islands. Most have been abandoned today, and the number of working ponds is thought to be under 50. One of them is still in Hana, just down the road from Leho'ula, where the tradition all started. Loko Vaihua is a productive pond today, but only after having been fully restored by the community. One of the people who headed the project owns a bed and breakfast that faces the pond, John Romaine.
When I first moved here, you could walk across this pond. It was full of grass, it was full of mud. Then we found out later it was actually a dump site. We pulled parts of refrigerators, car frames, tons of tires, you name it, it was there. It was a shame that a site that had so much relevance and importance would fall that way, but then fortunately we were able to bring it back to life. We started by pulling all the grass out with a boom crane, and the walls were rebuilt, and then we had to bring in a huge excavator and a couple of trucks to go in and start taking the material out from inside. So it was finished, I think, in August or September of '92, and we introduced the first fish in October, and then we did the first harvest about a year and a half later for the Taro Festival. So I'll throw a little bit out there. It's always my favorite time of the day. Give them a little excitement here. There we go. I put this in the category of raising my daughters as having a meaningful impact on things. I mean, I look at it as a living thing, the pond itself. I mean, it's its own ecosystem. There's fish and frogs in here that weren't here before. And it's a connection to the past, you know, and it's something that will live beyond ourselves.
Harvesting a fish pond is a tradition unto itself, a practice that is still followed here approximately every 3 years. A first cast is made with a throw net from which the first 2 fish are wrapped in tea leaves and offered as thanks to the gods. Then the main harvest net is strung across the pond. There is never a shortage of volunteers to jump into the pond to scare the fish into the net. The rest is easy, if not a little slippery. On this day, as with many days in Hana, time almost stands still, as a tradition is practiced much as it was more than 1,000 years ago. In the old days, there were many more fish ponds in the Hana area. The remains of each of them has a story to tell and hold a deep meaning to the families that have been responsible for them from the ancient days of old Hawaii.
Aloha, my name is Sharon Miner. I was born and raised here in Hana. I've been here 50 years of my life. The area I'm walking on is a part of this land named Hoku'ula, meaning red star. It's been through our family for generations. Until 10 years ago, a sizable portion was sold to foreigners coming from the mainland. Part of this property is an ancient Hawaiian fish pond, and it's been in our family for generations also. To me, it's of cultural and historical importance for us to keep in our family. At one time, King Kamehameha the Great himself walked this land. This fish pond was built by the ancient Hawaiians from East Maui, there were some young chiefs that came and picked up all the heavy rocks to build this particular rock wall. A long time ago, it was like 300 yards starting from that end, and then from where the rock wall was to the ocean side, it was 25 feet wide. So when the tide would come in, what happens was it covered all of this pond here, this whole section here, and it brought in all the fishes. So what happened was, when the tide went, it receded again, the big fishes would go out and the little ones would stay in the pond here. My great-great-grandfather took very good care of this fish pond, and even as we stand right here today, I can feel the mana. It's right here. I can feel power around me, and I can feel a presence. And I know my grandpa, Ben Dusen Pila, is very proud with me standing here today, because I think it will help the next generation to come, to give them an idea of the history of this fish pond. To me, it's a special place to come and rejuvenate, to come and recall the past, to just be close to your family that's been long gone. My family lived here generations through generations. They had a beautiful big house. One was in this area here, and then we had another smaller one in the back area there. And then April 1st, 1946, there was a tsunami or tidal wave that came through this whole area, demolishing the property, taking away the 2 houses. That's when I lost 3 of my brothers, and then a cousin and my great-grandma. There's a Norfolk pine tree, and just seeing the way it grows, they have that little curve, and that's how we know how strong the waves were. Under the pine trees, there are still remnants of our family gravesite. This is where our family is resting in peace. As long as this property is here, and as long as we take care of it, I feel the mana will always remain on this property. It's here, and it will always remain here. My family that walked on this land, they left a tattoo, and that's their footprints.
Nearly 2 miles above the Hana coast lies Haleakala, the largest dormant volcanic crater in the world. The Haleakala National Park stretches from the crater's rim all the way down to the coast. This is an area known as Kipahulu, where the ocean meets lush jungle and dense rainforest. Few people live in this remote part of Maui, but most who do are living a dream.
My name is Ray Fuquay. I am the owner of a little establishment called Ohio Stables, and my job is to take people up into the mountains on horseback and show them what it looks like up there. We have a little less than a mile to go down the county road here, and as soon as we hit the national park, we are going to be going up an old Jeep trail, and this Jeep trail winds up through the mountains.
Over 10,000 feet above sea level, 8 miles in circumference, over half a mile deep, the Haleakala Crater was formed by millions of years of volcanic eruptions, some coming from small cinder cones within the crater. To begin to get a sense of the crater, one must trek down the trail into it. Here you can begin to get a sense of its size. Cones that look like small hills from the rim suddenly become mountains to themselves once you stand below them. Haleakala Crater is a fixture in Hawaiian history and culture. The demigod Maui ensnared the sun from its rim with a magic rope and would only release it once the sun agrees to move across the sky more slowly, making the days longer. Giving the crater its name, Haleakala, the house of the sun. Just down the road from Ray's stable lies a popular destination within the Haleakala National Park, the Pools of Ohio, known more commonly to the tourists as the 7 Sacred Pools. For nearly 30 years, this man welcomed all who came to visit here. Mr. Eddie Pooh, park ranger and a highly respected Hawaiian elder. Eddie has become known as Mr. Aloha in this area. His smile is as refreshing as the Poohs themselves.
Well, you're welcome. Aloha. For we being in Hana, we're just simple people. So we call ourselves the Ohana, means the families. Aloha. A stranger could come from New York and live in Hana for 6-7 months. They become the Ohana also because they're here, they're with us. And we help one another. In our language it says, Kukua no kikahi kikahi, meaning help one another. Aloha no kikahi kikahi, love one another. Malama no kikahi kikahi, take care of one another. And so with the aina, malama ka aina, means take care of the land. Aloha ka aina, love the land. Kukua ka aina, work with her. I always like to stop here and look into the kauhale, it's the house there. And I would like to send my greetings to the people there. And like I say, Aloha tutukane, aloha tutuwahene, ina ka poe o kipoholo, na poe o oheo. Aloha, aloha aina. I love you, my land. As the kupunas we are, we're trying to put it into our children. That if they can extend the love from their home out to the community, everybody will be happy.
In the fall of 1999, Eddie Pooh retired from the National Park Service. At 72 years old, he was the oldest park ranger in the entire country. The ancient Hawaiians believed that all things were alive and possessed a soul, even a stone. The abundance of volcanic rock on the islands was a gift to them, one that they felt obligated to properly use. Working by hand with no mortar or cement, the practice of making walls and structures from uncut stone became a cultural tradition in Hawaii. The remains of many ancient Hawaiian structures